पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचम् स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः आचार्य उपासनम शौचम स्थैर्यम आत्मविनिग्रह. You can be the next value. Nigraha means restraining. Vinigraha, very well restraining. Atma means the self, very well restraining, controlling, mastering the self. Here Lord Krishna is the word Atma, and the primary meaning of Atma is of course Satchidananda Atma. But then controlling Satchidananda Atma doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have any control. So Atma here means what we call Atma. Sometimes we call it body as a self, sometimes sense organ as a self, sometimes mind as a self. Therefore here the word Atma would mean this body, sense, mind complex, the upadhi. That's what is called Atma here, because generally we entertain the sense of I-ness in this body-mind sense complex. So Vinigraha, very well controlling or mastering this body, sense organs, mind, that is the value. Why are we told to master those things? Why are we told to control those things? Well, usually they are not in our control. Usually these have their own mind. The body seems to behave the way it wants. The sense organs seem to behave the way they want. The mind also seems to behave the way it wants. Mind does not do what we want it to do. Even sometimes sense organs also do not do what we want them to do. So what is meant by control here or mastery is that they do what we want them to do. We want their cooperation. We want the support or the cooperation of this body, mind, sense complex. Very important. Because, as Lord Krishna says, Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu, Atmaiva ripuhu atma. Same sense the word Atma is used there, that Atma can become our bandhu, the benefactor, or Atma also can become our shatru, the enemy. Bandhuratmaatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana iraha anatmanastu shatrutve vartet atmaiva shatruvat. The Lord Krishna further explains, Which Atma? Which personality, if you want to use the word, the body, mind, sense complex? When does that become my mitra or benefactor? And when does that become my shatru? Bandhuratma atmanastasya yenatmaivatmanajitah. The one who has conquered this body, mind, sense complex or gained a mastery over that. For that person, the Atma becomes a bandhu, the benefactor, meaning that body, sense organs, mind, all of these become my benefactors. They cooperate with me, they support me in what I want to do. Then, on the other hand, anatmanastu shatrutve, anatma ajidatmanastu shatrutve, vartedatmaiva shatruvata. One who has not conquered this. For that, this Atma of the nature of the body, sense organs, mind, intellect, all of that become the Shatru. That being the case, it is important that this body, mind, sense complex is made our friend or benefactor, because if you don't do that, Lord Krishna says again, all the 6 chapters, Buddharet, Atmanatmanam, Natmanam, Avasadet. Buddharet, Atmanatmanam, Lord Krishna says that we have to lift ourselves up. We have to constantly vigilant. Make sure that this body, mind, sense complex becomes our friend, becomes a benefactor, becomes an asset, a blessing. If we do not pay attention to that, then avasadayet, it will slowly and slowly become our Shatru. Because just as there is force of gravity which always pulls us down. So if you want to climb a hill, an effort has to be made to climb, because for climbing we have to overcome that pull of gravity. If you don't do that, then we can roll down. Similarly, the force of Rajas and Tamas, our personality is made up of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Of this Rajas and Tamas have a tendency that they pull me down. Rajas creates restlessness, creates attachment, and makes the mind extrovert, attracted towards the objects of pleasure. The tamas creates dullness, inactivity, lack of motivation. So these are what we may call the factors which are not in our, if they are predominant, then they are not in our favor. If they are predominant, then they act as our enemies. The sattva, on the other hand, makes the mind calm, inward looking, contemplative. So sattva is our friend, and rajas tamas are not our friends. We do require some amount of rajas tamas to conduct our day-to-day life. But as long as they are within reasonable limits, so long they are okay. For performing actions we require rajas. For taking rest we require tamas for sleep. But as long as they are within those limits, so long they are alright. There should be dominance of sattva. So what is meant by Atma Vinigraha? Controlling, mastering the self or personality is to transform it into a sattvic personality. Sattva means purity, transparency, tranquility. So then the mind is pure, transparent, tranquil. then you want to meditate, mind says, I'll do that. You want to study, mind says, yes. You want to pray, yes. And whatever it is that you want to do, the mind supports us, helps us attain our goal. So therefore, making the mind our friend or benefactor requires a deliberate, a conscious and deliberate effort. And we should be constantly making that effort. Because if you do not do that, then the forces of rajas and tamas are always active. And the mind will come under their sway. So we must make sure that mind is under our sway and not under the sway of the rajas tamas. Some of you are exposed to Kathopanishad. May know that Kathopanishad gives a very beautiful allegory of a chariot. Our personality is compared to a chariot. I'm sure all of you know what a chariot is. A vehicle driven by horses. And there is a charioteer, the driver. And there is a master of the chariot who rides the chariot. So looking at this, comparing this, Kathopanishad says, Atmanam rathinam viddhi, shariram rathamevatu, buddhim tu saratham viddhi, manah pragrahamevacha, indriyani hayan ahuhu, vishyan stesu gocharan, atmendriya manavayuktam, bhukte kyahur manishana. A very beautiful description of personality. Know that this body is like a chariot, in the place of the chariot. The chariot is drawn by horses. So know that the organs of perception are like the horses which draw the body towards the objects. Then there is a charioteer. Know the intellect with the charioteer, the driver, because intellect makes all the decisions. When the vehicle is driven, it is the driver who makes all the decisions. And driver should know what is the goal and what's the road leading to that goal. So in our case, the intellect should or does know what the goal is, what choices are they made, what path the chariot should be driven. The charioteer, the driver, has in his hand his reins, with which he controls or guides the horses. Rasana. So, that's called pragraham or rasana or the reins. So, mind is in the place of that reins. The buddhi, the intellect, is in the place of the charioteer, the driver. And who is riding? You and I are the riding that horse, the chariot. Atmanam, the self. Which self? So, Atmendriya, one that is identified with the body, mind, sense organs, that Jiva Atma is the one who rides this chariot. Now see, who decides where the chariot will lead? It is not the rider, it is not the one who rides. It is the one who drives that decides where the vehicle will wind up, isn't it? You hail a taxi cab. Italy is well known for that. In Rome, when you land in Rome, when you then ask cab driver, you are totally strange, so you don't know what is what. So I want to go to a certain hotel. The hotel is right in front of you, but you don't know. So he gives you a whole round of the town and brings you back here. path you take is not determined by the one who rides, is determined by one who drives. Therefore, in our personality, the intellect, which is in the place of a charioteer or a driver, has the most important role. Because the intellect has to make the decisions. That is where the faculty of choice is. That's the one who makes the decisions. If right road is chosen, then you reach your destination. On the other hand, if the wrong road is chosen, then you will be distracted from that. In fact, the chariot can also land into some kind of a valley or some kind of hole and find it and drop in there. So these are the possibilities in life. Shreyascha, Preyascha, we talked about yesterday how at every moment there is a choice between Shreyas and Preyas. What is Preyas? Something that gives me immediate gratification, something that is attractive. The pleasure coming from the sense organ objects and pleasure coming from worldly things is called Shreyas, Preyas. And usually we have attraction towards that. That's called the acquired value, remember. And Shreyas is that which gives me lasting happiness. Which are these values, what that we are talking about? Thus at every moment there is a choice between Shreyas and Preyas. Whether to fall for our natural temptations of the sense pleasures and wealth and fame and power, etc. Because that attraction is built in that. On the other hand, Shreyas is the lasting happiness, happiness coming from the self, which requires, however, that the mind must be made inward looking. For enjoying pleasures, you don't need inward looking mind, you need an extroverted mind, which is easy. That's why people go for that. Except that it lends us into the roadside and ultimately the chariot falls down. Because that's a binding happiness. The happiness coming from sense objects, from the worldly things, is like fire, and more you provide that, more intense it becomes, and ultimately it's binding happiness. Whereas happiness coming from self is the freeing happiness. But to enjoy the happiness of self, it is necessary that the mind should be inward looking. And that thus we have to make a strong effort to completely turn around the mind from its extrovert tendencies, from its natural attractions which draw the mind out. You must turn it around and make it inward looking, introvert. This is a tremendous effort. But this is what we have to do. What is meant by Atma Vinigraha. Controlling the Atma, controlling the mind sense complex. Mastering them is to slowly and slowly turn it around from its extrovert tendencies and deliberately making it inwardly. That's where Atma is. To know the self, to enjoy the self, the mind should be where the self is. Therefore, the mind should be self-abiding. Not abiding in non-self, abiding in self. But this is a tremendous effort. Because it's easy for the mind to run out. That's what it has been doing all the time. Seeking gratification from the worldly things. To turn around that mind is a tremendous effort. And that's effort that we have to do. If we do not do that effort, then attractions are already there, but they will keep on drawing the mind away from us. And the that mind will create all kinds of problems for us. Because the cravings always grow. From kama arises krodha, and then arises lobha, and all the evil tendencies all build up, and they torture us. Trividam narakasthedam dvaram. So these, if the mind remains extrovert, then it invites all these demoniac or negative tendencies which torture us. And therefore, in order to become free from unhappiness, it's also necessary that mind should be made to test the peace which is inside. The peace or happiness which is the nature of self, the mind should be made to taste it. And when the mind has enough taste of that, then it will not want to run away. Until then, the mind will always seek this immediate gratification, running away. Question was, Swamiji, how to control the mind? First of all, educate the mind and let the mind understand where its real well-being is. Then how do you turn around? How do we turn around the mind from its tendency to run out, and how do we make it abiding in self? By making the mind see all the disadvantages or the damages involved when it runs out. When the mind is seeking immediate gratification, it feels good, doesn't realize that gratification creates desire for further gratification. That creates further desire or craving. A time comes when that craving cannot be satisfied, and then the mind suffers. So we have to educate the mind. This is called dosha darshanam. In Viveki Chudamani, said Vairagyam vishyagratat dosha drishtya muhur muhu. Educate the mind and let the mind see the disadvantages, the damage that is involved when it is running out and seeking the immediate gratification from the objects of the world. From past experiences, from the Vedanta, this is what we have to make the mind see. And thus progressively make the mind free from the grip that it has of this kama, krodha, and turn it around and make it focused or centered upon the self. So this is called Atma Vinigraha. Restraining the Atma, restraining the personality, restraining the mind. In Tattva Bodha we have learned Shama, Dhamma, Uparama. Right? Shama means tranquility of the mind. Dhamma means the control over the senses. Uparama means that the mind naturally abides. So this is called Shama. Every time mind is seeking the happiness from out there, then educate that. Make the mind see all the potential pain and suffering that is involved in this short-term pleasure. Short-term gain and long-term pain. The path is short-term gain, long-term pain. Let the mind see the long-term pain involved. But the mind doesn't want to do, because for making the mind inward-looking, short-term pain, long-term gain. For turning the mind around, there is pain. It is like a motor car which is going at the speed of 100 kilometers an hour, and then you hear your GPS says, turn, you turn. You know GPS. You turn. Now when the car is running 100 kilometers, you can't U-turn. You have to slow down slowly and then turn around. So similarly also the mind cannot be turned around. It has to slowly disengage from that. And therefore it has to give up its attractions, which is painful in the beginning. Like following values is painful in the beginning. It's easy to tell a lie. It's difficult to remember and tell the truth and suffer that the telling the truth involves. So practicing a value involves some suffering. Otherwise everybody will practice it. And so, being prepared for the initial pain, short-term pain, long-term gain. So mind needs to educate all the time. When it runs out, short-term gain, long-term pain. Come inside, short-term pain, long-term gain. That's what turning the mind around. It is like turning the flow of the river, which is a tendency to run away, turning to its source. How difficult it is, so difficult it is to turn around the mind. But this is what, and values are of course a means of that. What we are discussing is the means of controlling the mind. Assert the values. It's easy to tell a lie. Easy to cheat. Easy to do those things. Not that we are liars and cheaters, but little things. A little lie. Did you do that? No, I did not do it. Because there may be fear of punishment or fear of something. No, I didn't do that. We grew up that way. Children do some mischief, and then father, who did this? Nobody wants to own up that. Because fear of punishment. So fear of punishment, fear of pain, always want to avoid pain. So take the easy way out. Even Arjuna also wanted to take the easy way out. He wanted to drop out. I don't want to fight this battle. It's painful. So our tendency to avoid pain, we do not realize that it lands us into greater pain by avoiding this little pain. So it requires understanding, determination, understanding the mind, and slowly turn it around. All values are doing this anyway. By the way, the purpose of practicing values is to turn the mind around from its extrovert tendency to make it inward looking. Vairagyam. Let's go to the next verse now. Indriyartheshu Vairagyam Anahankara evacha Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshan darshanam Indriyartheshu Vairagyam. Indriya means sense organ. Here mainly sense organs of perception. Artha means the object. Indriyartha means the object of the senses. So what are these objects? Shabda, Sparsha, and what? Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda, the sound. Sparsha, the touch. Rupa, form or color. Rasa, taste. Gandha, smell. So these are the objects of senses. But we must know that these are not the only source of pleasure we are seeking. Usually this is what they talk about. They always talk about Indriyartha. As if that's the only source of happiness. Not so. We derive happiness from various sources. Immediate is from the organs of pleasure, the objects of the sense pleasures. also derive happiness from the gratification of emotion. So we derive pleasure from gratification. First is gratification of senses. Second is gratification of emotion. That's even subtler joy. Emotion, the joy that you have in the company of a person, which you like or love, your friends, relatives, dear one, that gives you the emotional gratification. That also we want. Third is intellectual gratification. So what are you doing? I'm traveling, going to Russia, this and that. So all this traveling, going to places, or I'm interested in history, and so he goes to Austria, he goes to these places, and goes to France and studies. All intellectual pursuits. There's great joy involved there. It is the gratification of intellect. So every level is subtler than the previous level, understand? So don't think that we only enjoy sense pleasure. There are many people who don't care for that. There are thousands of millions of people. There are people who are just writers and they are absorbed in their work. They don't care for any pleasures. There is this Vachaspati Mishra, and is well known for his commentary on the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. And he has written so many things. He has written Bhashya on every darshanam. On every darshanam, meaning every school of thought, there is a Bhashya of Vachaspati Mishra. This all he was absorbed. Once, while doing work, he looks up and sees a woman. Who are you? So I'm your wife. For 25 years he was busy, he had no time even to see his wife. And she was silently serving him. Her name was Bhamati. That way he gave the name Bhamati to his Brahma Sutra Bhashya Tika. That's how people are. No time. All the writers, scientists, poets, they have no time for all this stuff. They are so absorbed in the intellectual pursuit. So when you get your emotional gratification, then you don't care for the sense pleasure. The intellectual gratification, that's even subtler. Then comes gratification of ego. Power, wealth, fame, control, recognition. That is the gratification. And people are devoted to that. Many of them. They don't care for anything else. People who want to, who are contesting, for the office, political office. In election, you will see how hard they work. These people who are contesting the election for the President of the United States work for anywhere for India, working for 20 hours a day for months to grueling schedule. I want to be the President, the Prime Minister, XYZ. And when you win, the joy is just overwhelming. That is what? The gratification of ego. So understand that we in our life gain gratification at many levels. Although this verse only mentions the sense objects and sense pleasures, assuming that they are the ones that attract the mind and distract the mind from its own focus, yatato vikanteya purushasya vipassitah indriyani pramatheni haranti prasavam manah. In the second chapter also Lord Krishna says that this person is trying to focus his mind. And still, the sense pleasures and attachment is so strong that they forcibly pull the mind away from him. All the time, Indriyartha is mentioned. But we know However, thoughts of our near and dear ones also, they distract our mind. There is an attachment there. Thoughts of intellectual things and studies. Okay, distracts now, next one, this one, next one. Or how to become wealthy, wealthier than the other person, more famous, more powerful. Meaning all of these occupy our mind, distract our mind from its focus. What we want is a mind that enjoys focus upon the self. And therefore, anything that helps us do becomes a means of knowledge. Knowledge comes from Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasam, called Vichara. But for Vichara, the mind should be focused upon the self, and what do you do, Vichara? And for that, it will be free from its tendencies, of extrovert tendencies. So, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, in Vairagya, dispassion towards all these gratifications. The means in method is dosha darshanam. Recognizing what suffering is involved in pursuing those pleasures. And what am I missing in doing that? That's also important. Even if we get pleasure out of satisfying our ego, satisfying the senses, satisfying the emotions, you may get pleasure. But at that time also, we should remember what we are missing in the process of enjoying that pleasure. In the financial management, there is an expression called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost? When you have an opportunity to make more money and then you do something which earns less money. For example, you have 100,000 rupees, which you can invest in something which can earn you 25% interest, let us say. Something that earns you 15% interest. Something else 5% interest. Suppose you invest your money and that earns you 15%, I'm earning 15%, but you're losing 10% because you could have made the investment rate that could have given you 25%, isn't it? So you invest your money which gives you 5% rate of return and you're happy. Don't realize that you're losing 20%. That's called opportunity cost. The opportunity to make more money, similarly in life also. We're investing our energy and the mind in all these pleasures, which are 1%. And what are we missing at that time? We are missing the joy of our own self, which is not 1,000,000%. There is no comparison. Meaning that when we are feeling that we are enjoying something, which comes from gratification, and congratulating ourselves when the ego is satisfied, intellect is satisfied, we do not realize what we are missing. We could have been at that time enjoying the self and the limitless happiness. So limitlessness is a potential in our life. And therefore, to deliberately engage anything that gives us a limited return, does it make any sense? To a businessman, it won't make any sense. To an intelligent person, it won't make any sense. A Viveki, a discriminating person, doesn't make any sense. So reminding the mind, dosha darshanam, what is lost in these pursuits? In pursuing the limited, we are missing out the limitless. In pursuing the small things, we are missing out the larger things. Because that is the potential that human being has. That he or she could be pursuing moksha. But Swami, when will moksha come? This is easy. Even if moksha comes after a long time, when we engage in this external pursuit, then that time is extended. You understand this? Today, let us say moksha may take, I don't know, whole lifetime. But if I unintelligently engage myself in pursuing the worldly things, then it will need 2 lifetimes. I'm very generous right now, If I say, because Lord Krishna says, Aneka Janma Samsiddha. I don't say that. I don't, Aneka Janma. No, it is 1 lifetime, let us say. But if we live intelligently, and moment to moment we are conscious, aware, making right choices of Shreya versus Preya, versus short-term gain and long-term pain, short-term pain and long-term gain. Moksha, Swami, why is there pain? The pain is only in turning the mind. There is no pain in moksha. There is no pain in Atma. Pain is only in turning the pain. The horses also need to be trained. The chariot can run on the right path provided horses are trained. Is it not so? Dushtasvaiva sarathe. If horses are not trained, then they will drag you away. Because when driving the chariot, there are those green fields and the horses all get attracted to the grass and they want to go there. You will control them, isn't it? So sense organs want to go where the pleasures are. You have to put them on the right path. So the Vairagyam meaning making a mind free from this attachment that comes from wrong value that is placed upon the things. The mind has superimposed the value where it does not belong. The happiness where it does not belong. In fact, even momentary happiness that we think we are getting from the objects is not there. He samsparshaya bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. Lord Krishna says that this bhoga, this pleasure, dukkha yonaya, they are nothing but cause of dukkha or cause of suffering. Adyantavantah kaunteya, hey kaunteya, they have a beginning and an end. So Vedanta says, Adavante jayannasti vartamane viditatmananda. What is not in the beginning and what is not in the end is also not there in the middle. Explaining the word Shankaracharya, he says, Aputra Devadatta. This Devadatta doesn't have a son. So poor Devadatta, when he goes to sleep, doesn't have a son. When he wakes up, doesn't have a son. But in his dream, he has a son. Adavante, what was not there in the beginning, meaning before dream, Ante, at the end of the dream, understand that in the middle also it is not there. Even when he thinks it is there, it is not there. So the happiness is not there before the contact with the sense object, which is not there at the end of the contact. Understand that it is not there even when there is a contact with the sense object. It is nothing but an appearance, a false projection in the Vedantic terms. So really speaking, there is not an iota of happiness or success or peace or security anywhere, because they are not meant that way. Ishvara has not designed the world for giving us happiness or peace or love. Ishvara knows that's what you are, so he doesn't. Otherwise he would have designed. If we did not have happiness within ourselves, then Ishvara would design the world to give us happiness. Isn't it? Or peace, or love. But because peace and love and happiness is my own nature, so why should Ishvara provide that elsewhere? Swami, why has Lord created the universe? Just to fulfill our basic needs. Because the body is given. So there is hunger. So Ishvara should provide food. He has put hunger here. Thirst, should provide water. Meaning, whatever basic needs Ishvara has created for fulfilling those needs, He has created the world. Our need for happiness is an illegitimate need, really. The need for appeasing hunger is a legitimate need. Need for quenching thirst is a legitimate need. Therefore, there are means for fulfilling those legitimate needs. But need for happiness is not a legitimate need. It's like the 10th man. You know the 10th man story? Isn't it? At least. So I don't want to tell the 10th man story. But the thing is like searching for the 10th man. Not a legitimate desire, not like legitimate. It can never fulfill. So Ishvara knows that our illegitimate desire for happiness can never be fulfilled. It's not where we are looking for. We should look for where it is. So Ishvara has designed the world to fulfill the basic needs of appeasing hunger and thirst and protecting your rain and cold and stuff like that. That's what He has done. He has not created things for a source of happiness or peace or love. And that's what we're looking for where it is not. So this is called Viveka. Viveka means a right understanding of things. That creates Vairagya. A wrong understanding. What I'm seeking out there makes my mind attracted to that. That's called Raga. Right understanding that is not there in myself, then the mind will turn away, becomes free from Raga. It's called Vairagya. So Vairagya is the result of Viveka. What is Viveka? Viveka is understanding the realities as they are. What's the realities? That Atma is Satchidananda. The self is of the nature of happiness, limitlessness, Ananda, Ananta. Meaning it is what I am seeking in my life, is my own self. This is the Praptasya Prapti. It is attainment of what is already attained. Attaining myself, already attained. Keep on dividing the mind. Whenever mind wants to attain something that it thinks is unattained, there are two kinds of things in the world, two kinds of desires. As Swami demonstrated this thing to you, this glasses thing, that's about Swami's story. So, one Sunday morning, this man is reading his newspaper. There's a holiday, with reading glasses on. And like in India, he's halfway reading a newspaper and a friend walks in. You don't need appointment and stuff, he just walks in. And so, in order he can clearly see his friend, he touches his glasses like that. And he talks to his friend. For 15-20 minutes conversation, that fellow leaves. This fellow resumes reading his newspaper and he can't read it. Looks for his glasses. Where are my glasses? The usual places where he places the glasses, he looks all over. Doesn't find. Then he slowly loses patience. Where are my glasses? You know who is addressed. She is in the kitchen. She hears this, doesn't respond. Then slowly the tone rises. Where are my glasses? When the wife realizes that now it is going to cross boundaries, then she comes out. What's the matter? This is how they talk, Outwardly, inwardly. What's the matter? Where are my glasses? I don't know. You always put them away. I don't know. She sees. That's why she wants to enjoy the fun. She does not cooperate. Fortunately for this man, his son walks in. A 10-year-old son. Beta, have you seen my glasses? Which glasses, Dad? My reading glasses. So son also sees that he's surprised. Have you seen my glasses? Yes, Dad, I have seen them. Please tell me where they are. One condition, you should let me go for movies this evening. All right, where are my glasses? Lord, they're right on your head. Praptasya prapti, right? This is the attainment of what is already attained. So two kinds of desires in our life, understand? One is desire for what is not attained. There are many things that are not attained, which we need. And there is desire for what I think is unattained. Desire for what is not attained, and desire for what I think is not attained. So when I am thirsty, I want a glass of water, it is desire for what is unattained. Please get me a cup of tea, desire for what is unattained. But desire for glasses is desire for what I think is unattained. So desire for happiness, in which category it falls? Desire for happiness. Please love me. You don't love me. This is love business. That desire for love. The things that we need to give, we are always asking for. That's the problem in our life. Happiness is to be given, not to be asked for. Love is to be given, not to be asked for. You have that, so you have to give. To experience love, you have to give love because then it becomes manifest. To experience happiness, give happiness, it becomes manifest. But we are reversing the whole thing. Please love me. You don't love me. The whole life goes in that stuff. So this desire for happiness and love is the desire for what I think is unattained. So then anytime a desire arises in the mind, ask the mind, what kind of desire is this? Is it desire for what is not attained, or is it desire for what I think is not attained? Whenever the mind asks for happiness, remind the mind, hey mind, it is desire for what you think is unattained. And what you think is unattained can never be attained. These classes cannot be attained because they are already attained. So every time, I am not saying that there is no desire at all. But desire for what is attained doesn't make sense. And here, we are always chasing the world for happiness and peace, which are already attained. So that desire can never be fulfilled. So that's all Vairagya wants. What is meant by Vairagya is nothing but Viveka, understanding that what I seek is not there, is within me. Your mind, don't desire that. That's all. So that's how with the reasoning of the Viveka, the mind is made free from its usual tendency to ask, I'm begging, I want this, I want this. Hey, you don't need anything, you have everything. Let the mind see that. That's how the mind becomes free from these attractions, attachments, desires, called Vairagyam. Although it's Indriyarthe, Vairagya in Jata, I don't want anything. No emotional gratification, no intellectual gratification, no ego gratification. All gratifications are only seeking happiness, which I already have. So what do you do? You give them. Let me give happiness, not ask for it. Let me give love. So transform yourself from being a consumer to a contributor. With a contributor, one who seeks to give happiness, one who seeks to give love. With a consumer who begs for love, who begs for happiness. Intelligent living is to be a contributor. So Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, this is the Vairagya towards the worldly things and achievements. Anahankar evacha. Ahankara means ego. Anahankara means freedom from ego. So usually the word ego is used also in sense of pride anyway. But we already had amanitva. Amanitva means freedom from pride. So anahankara should mean somewhat different. The commentators explain that manitvam is seeking is pride, concealed pride. And ahankara is manifest pride. Some people's habit it is always to throw their weight around, to let the world know who I am, control. All of us have that in one measure. We all want to control things. Yesterday we said, when do we get angry? When we do not have our way. What is desire? Desire is, or what is expectation? Is having my way. I expect you to conduct yourself in a certain way to make me comfortable. If you don't do that, meaning that I don't have my way. When I don't have my way, then ego gets hurt. That's how it turns into anger. So ahankara can be called ego. Or from the Vedantic standpoint, we can go to a more fundamental understanding of ahankara. Ahankara is a sense of I that arises on account of identification with this body, mind, sense complex. What is my nature? My nature is the self. What is the body? Non-self, isn't it? So relationship between Atma, the self, Anatma, the body, mind, sense complex, the relationship is, similar to the relationship between an actor and his costume. Atma is like the actor. His body, mind, sense complex like a costume. So actor needs the costume to perform the acting. An actor cannot come to the stage as he is when an act as a beggar. To act as a beggar, he should put on the costume. So also, the Atma needs the costume to do his, do the vyavahara, to live the day-to-day life, to interact with the world. Therefore, Ishvara has given us this costume. What is the costume? The body, sense organs, mind, intellect, which is upadhi, personality, anatma, non-self. It is like the costume. And also Ishvara has given us this power, Ichha Shakti, power to will, Jnana Shakti, power to know. What's the third one? Kriya Shakti, power to act. So all of this is given so that we can live life, that's all. The problem is when that actor becomes identified with the costume and thinks that I am beggar. That's where the problem is. If costume is not a problem, beggar also is not a problem. What is the problem? I am the beggar, that's the problem. And that notion, I am the beggar, arises on account of identifying with the costume. That's called ahankara. So that notion of the complex that arises in Atma because of identifying with the costume or this body, mind, sense complex is called ahankara. In the verse of Kathopanishad that we just quoted, it said, Atmendriya manoyuktam bhokte tyahur manishina. This Paramatma, Satchidananda Atma, Atmendriya manoyuktam, when it identifies the body, sense organs, mind, then it entertains a notion. What's the notion? Bhokte tyahur. I'm a bhokta. I am an enjoyer, I am a doer. So kartrutva, bhoktrutva, the sense of doership, sense of experiencership. That is the kind of notion that arises in the Atma on account of the identification of the costume. Just as the actor, the notion arises, I am a beggar. And that is all. That is enough for suffering. This person does not have to be a beggar to suffer. What is necessary? The notion that I am the beggar. Isn't it so? He can be a millionaire and really weep and suffer. Because of what? Because of this notion that I am a beggar. Meaning that to suffer in life, we do not have to be real beggars. We only have to think that we are beggars. The rope snake example. For me to have fear, we don't need a real snake. That is a snake, that notion is enough to create the same effect that a real snake would create. Is it not so? And so a sense of helplessness, hopelessness will be created in this actor just by the notion, I am the beggar. So does he have to become rich? No. What is necessary is for the removal of the notion, I am the beggar. That's called Ahankar. Bhoktetyahur manisha, Atma gains this notion, I am a karta, I am a bhokta, I am a doer, I am an experiencer. And when I am a doer, there is always the possibility of guilt. See, when I speak, always the possibility that I may say something which is not right. Always possible. Is it not so? By words you can hurt somebody. My mind is not in the right place. Some problems are there. Before I enter the hall, something happened out there. And all that may come out in my words, possible. I hurt you. Why does Swami say that? Then I also realize I feel guilty. So when kartrutva is there, the doership is there, there is always a possibility of doing something which is unbecoming, which creates the sense of guilt. And bhoktrutva, experience it. When you do something to me, then you are fine, suppose you behave in an unbecoming manner, I am hurt. So kartrutva has the potential of guilt. Bhoktrutva has the potential of hurt. Ahankara constantly suffers from hurt and guilt. It's Ahankara. Anahankar. So constantly making the mind see how these notions arise from the identification with what I am not. And then many other complexes are there. What is the Ahankara? A whole bunch of complexes. One is called inferiority complex. I am inferior. Some people always brand themselves inferior. I am no good. I am no good. I am no good. Other is superiority complex. I am something. I am something. I am something. Complexes means suffering. So what is Ahankara? A bunch of complexes, which are all notions arising from identifying with one or the other aspect of my personality. When I attend to the body, I am a man, woman, tall, short, fair, lean, dark, handsome, XYZ, bald, old. Then identify in the sense organs. Swami, I am sharp in my sight, sharp, middling, I can't see. So that I am blind, I am lame, all identified in the sense organs. The mind happy, unhappy, intellect successful, failure. All these complexes make up what is called Ahankara. Each of these complexes is the source of sorrow. Swami, you will, in a funny way, say, father is also a complex, isn't it? It's a conclusion. Father, mother. Everybody has stress. Father has stress. Mother has stress. Son has stress. Daughter-in-law has stress. Mother-in-law. Moment we have a notion or that we are creating all the possible stresses. So this man is father. He is an 18-year-old young son. Tall and white-chested. He is a high school dropout. And somehow, now that he is 18-year-old, he can get a license, though he has a huge motorbike. Yamaha or something, Rajadut. Yamaha, Lord, somebody used to call Yamaraj, Yamadut. That's the Yamadut. He rides a big motorbike. How many horsepower? He has removed the silencer from that, so he announces wherever he goes. He does not button his shirt so that his chest can be seen, on which he has a golden chain given by his mother. And then he goes around, the father thinks of the son has blood pressure. Thinks of the son, so father means blood pressure. Son means, all blood pressure, stresses, all of them, every role has a potential of these stresses and strains and misery. That's called complex, that's called Ahankar. Recognizing how these identifications, how these notions are causing a sense of smallness, limitedness, inadequacy. How it separates me from others, creates a division. How Atma has been confined to this small little boundaries, and therefore how it is confined, how it feels isolated, limited, separate from others. That's Ahankar, sense of limitedness. So seeing this and recognizing what it is that the consequences are of Ahankara, these notions arising from identification. Anahankar. Thus, a conscious effort to recognize Ahankar. We know it not by anything else. Recognize the notion every moment. Who is talking? Viditatmananda says, Pranandeva prana bhavati, vadadvak, pasyan chakshu, shrunan shrutram. When he is speaking, he says, I am a speaker. Who am I? Who is talking? I am a speaker. Who are you? Listener. These are all expressions of complexes. Who is speaking? The organ of speech is speaking. What do we say? I am speaking. Who is listening? Organ of hearing is listening. I am listening. That's done. Meaning that we have reduced ourselves from limitless to an extremely limited entity. So aware of these complexes arising from identifications. So viveka. Aviveka creates ahankara, viveka creates ahankara. Alright, I see people looking at their watch and things like that. So I also should look there. We'll continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Manam Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhaya